Digital marketing for beginners. In this course, I'm going to show you how to run online marketing campaigns, how we drive traffic from traffic sources and search engine optimization to websites and landing pages, and then convert that traffic through conversion rate optimization to become customers and provide value and revenue to your business. Let's get started with how online marketing works. Digital marketing is the concept of driving traffic or website visitors to your web properties. Now, marketers can do this in a number of ways. We can have short-term campaigns where the idea is just get a direct response from that visitor and turn them into a lead or a customer. Or it can be longer-term campaigns where the idea is to build a brand image and create positive associations for that brand. This video is going to be mainly about performance marketing, and that involves a scientific process of running campaigns, optimizing them to see what works, and then reiterating on that to build out and develop the campaigns in a process of continuous improvement. So let's look at an example advertising campaign. If we type in something like insurance quote, we're going to get a bunch of paid advertisings, 1, 2, 3, 4. The entire search results are completely advertising on this query. This is the first organic listing, which we'll get to when we talk about SEO. But the main ones at the top of the search results are all paid ads. So let's click on the first one, comparethemarket.com. And this will take us to a landing page. You can see we're not going to the main domain here. We're actually going to a landing page specifically set up for this campaign. Let's have a little look at this landing page. We've got a headline here, a couple of bullet points, and then a call to action, start the quote. And this is a very common layout for landing pages. It's proven, it's effective, and it's known to convert really well. Now if we type the domain into builtwith.com, we'll be able to find the kind of technology that this company is using. So instead of using Optimizely, so this is going to be a conversion rate optimization platform for improving the landing page over time. Then we have SessionCam, which is a user experience platform. We've got Google Analytics, which we're going to look at in detail later. This is something that's used throughout the web. It's free, and I'd recommend that you use it on your sites and landing pages. They're also using conversion tracking for Bing, Facebook pixels, and the Google site tag. Now this gives us some clues to where they're driving traffic from and what kind of ad platforms they're using to not only drive traffic but build up audiences and generate effective marketing campaigns on these platforms. So going back to the site, the final stage of this process would be to click through on the landing page to get a quote. That'll fire a conversion event in the background which the user or the visitor doesn't see, but it updates all the stats platforms so the marketers at Compare the Market can see and develop their landing pages over time. And a certain percentage of the visitors that click that ad will go through to purchase car insurance through this website. Let's talk a little bit about the scientific process of running performance marketing campaigns. You might have heard of something called A/B testing. And what this is you might have two variations of a landing page, and then you drive equal amounts of traffic to the different variations, and then one will perform better than the other. One will create more sales than the other one. And what we do is we then take the one that performed best, and then we do variations of that, continuously improving the performance of the marketing campaign. This doesn't have to be just the landing page. For example, we do multivariate testing when we're testing lots of different components within a landing page all at the same time. We might have two different titles, two different images, a bunch of different bullet points, and different button colors is the often quoted example of conversion rate optimization. We can do this for banners as well. It's very rare that you just upload a single banner or a single creative to an advertising campaign. You generally upload 2 or 3 or even 10 different examples. You see which ones perform best, and then you move forward to creating variations on them banners. This not only allows you to continuously improve the performance, but it gives you insights into what works, what doesn't, and what is driving performance within the campaign. The longer you run a campaign for and the more visitors you have, the more data you can collect and the more information you have to work with, providing insights into how consumers are interacting with your marketing campaigns and how you can improve performance going forwards. Now, when we're setting up performance marketing campaigns for the first time, we always keep daily budgets quite limited. We don't want to spend a lot of money before we know it's going to work. And the beauty of online marketing is that you can scale up the campaigns that are working quite quickly. So if you set a limited budget of £5 a day for your campaign, and then you realize that you're getting £50 in sale from that campaign, you can scale that up by increasing the daily budgets and expanding the campaigns out with wider targeting to reach a more broad audience and grow your volumes and business revenues really quickly. Now, all of this relies on data. So let's look a little bit at analytics and tracking, which is how we record this user data. This is Google Analytics. It's by far the most popular tracking and analytics platform online. It's provided for free by Google and it's really simple to set up. All you have to do is install a plugin for WordPress, or you can copy and paste the code onto your website. I'm going to briefly go through some of the important things about Google Analytics and what you need to know to start using it. So let's go through some of these stats first of all. We have the unique users here, and we have how many sessions they are, so how many times them unique users have been on this website. The bounce rate is the percentage of people that have visited the site and then clicked off without doing anything else. Then average session duration. This is how much time someone spends on your website on average. If we scroll down a bit, we can see some geo information here about where the traffic's coming from, and then some traffic channels here, which is the different places that are driving the traffic. So we've got organic search. This is unpaid traffic from the search engines. Direct, which is just someone typing in jamesbachini.com into the web browser. Referral traffic is links from external sites. Display traffic is paid advertising, and then other is everything else. We've got some information on what pages people visit, the number of active users over time, and a little bit of information about what devices people are using on the site. So on the left, we've got a lot of different options here, and you're not going to need to know about every one of these. Audience gives you information about the demographic and interest behavior of the people on the website. It's really useful for building up insights into who your audience is and who's coming to your website and the common traits between them visitors. Acquisition is all about where the traffic's coming from. If we open this up, we'll see that we've got Google Ads, the Search Console, which is a really useful platform for doing the search engine optimization, social networks, and then advertising campaigns. The next tab is behavior. Here we have information about site content, the speed of the site loading, which is becoming a more important factor for search engine rankings, custom events, and some other data. Then we have the conversions tab. This is what I really want to look at. So here we can have our goals set up. We can set these up much in the same way as we set up tracking by copying and pasting little bits of code onto the website. It's a little bit outside the scope of this tutorial, but you can find information on how to set this up and how you can get this goal data into Google Analytics. And what's really important here is that the goals are in line with your key performance indicators. If you're selling something on your website, you want a goal event to fire, feeding back the amount of revenue for that sale. This way, that data will be allocated to a traffic source, and you can easily find out how much you're spending on the traffic source, how many of them visitors converted, and how much revenue you got from that ad spend. This is known as return on ad spend, or ROAS. Without some form of goals or conversion tracking, we don't know how our campaigns are performing. We don't know which traffic sources are working and which aren't, which ads are working and which aren't. And we're doing things in the blind, and that's not the way to drive long-term performance. So Google Analytics is a great place to start taking a scientific approach to your advertising and improving performance over time and getting that data together about what works and what doesn't, and then making better marketing and business decisions from that data. Okay, now let's look at website and landing page design and conversion rate optimization. If we go back to the insurance quote search results and open up some of these websites, we'll notice that a lot of them have some similarities. And this is a very competitive niche, so I'd expect that these are high performance, well converting landing pages. They've been optimized and proven over time and developed by the advertisers to convert at a very high rate. So the first one we've already looked at, compare the market, we've got a headline here. So we've got some bullet points with the amount that you can save in bold. And then one of the important things is we've got this big call to action button to start your quote. We've also got the hero image here of the meerkat, which if you're not from the UK or familiar with this company, he's in TV adverts. And he's quite well known and associated with this brand. If we go on to the second website, you can see some similarities. We've got the hero image here with a couple of cards and some fluffy dice. We've got the title. We've got the amount that you can save in bold. And we've got this great big call to action sign, which is in a beautifully garish color, which I've almost guaranteed they split tested this against lots of different colors, and this one is the one that converted the best. And that brings me to one important point about the concept of designing for performance marketing. It's that the most beautiful landing pages and the most well-designed ads don't always convert the best. Ugly ads sometimes work better. And if you're interested in business revenues, you should be focused on the performance of what works best rather than just what looks nice. And the only way you can prove that is by testing and figuring out what works. And in this case, a bright pink button in the middle of the landing page works really well. Here we have another one from Money Supermarket. Again, you can see we've got these bullet points. We've got little ticks by the bullet points. That's a common theme. We've got the amount you can save, quite clear here, but not in bold. And then we've got another big call to action button right here and a big title. It says effortlessly protect what matters to you the most. for the right price. Now, I don't know about you, but when I'm looking for a car insurance quote, the main thing that I want is I want it to be low hassle and I want it to be effortless. And but that's one of the reasons why this headline is being used here. In this niche, it's almost definitely been split tested and it's been shown to drive a high conversion rate. Finally, we have an outlier here. And again, this looks like a website from the 1990s. There's some information here, some bullet points, but they're kind of faded out. You've got this button here with the pointing down to the quote form. And then you've got a simple lead generation form. On the back end, these guys will be selling these leads to insurance providers. Now, these guys are going to be spending a huge amount of money on this traffic. If they're ranking on the first page for insurance quote in the UK, they're going to be spending a huge amount of money. This page doesn't look like this by accident. The designers that came up with this aren't incapable of designing a much better looking, more modern website, but they found that this old school form look converts better. They get more lead generation from the kind of customers they want by using this outdated approach. And this is something that takes a little while to get your head around, especially for modern startups who want their landing pages to look great and have modern animations and be really cutting edge. How much are you willing to pay for that privilege? If you have a landing page that performs twice as well but doesn't look as good, and you're getting twice the amount of customers from that, then it's certainly something that's worth testing or at least finding a compromise as to how far you're willing to push the performance angle. Now, this isn't to say at all that every landing page you do must look like it was built in the 1990s. There's plenty of landing pages out there that look modern and still have high conversion rates. But the point I'm trying to make is that test everything. Don't rest on your laurels. Don't assume that the latest and greatest WordPress templates have been designed with performance marketing in mind. Come up with some hypotheses about what you think might work. Drive some traffic to your landing pages, test it, get some data and prove the results. Now let's look a little bit at how the back end of an offer like this might work. For that, we're going to look at sales funnels. Okay, here we have a very common sales funnel. This is a stereotypical example. And think of a sales funnel as how the traffic flows through your offer. So you might drive traffic via a Google ad like we saw earlier to your landing page. Your landing page might then give away something such as a quote or an email or a PDF ebook or some other item in return for an email address. You've probably seen online where you want to do something and it's asking you for an email to either sign up or try a demo. Once you signed up, you then get a series of emails. This is called an autoresponder series. It's part of the sales conversion process. This is built in advance. You can use different platforms like SendGrid or MailChimp to automate this so that you write a series of emails. Then as soon as the visitor enters their email address, they'll get the first email. And then after a set period of a few hours to a few days, they'll get the second email and the third and the fourth and the sixth and the seventh until they unsubscribe. The reason this works so well is regular communications build trust between the consumer and the brand. Marketers then often take this a step further by offering what we call a tripwire product. This can be a very low cost item or something with very low perceived risk but offers exceptional value to that visitor. This is also the point when that visitor becomes a customer, and marketers want their first customer experience to have that wow factor. And this takes us to the next step in the funnel. You might have heard the adage that it's easier to sell a new product to an existing customer than it is to sell an existing product to a new customer. And this is why this part of this common sales funnel is so effective. Once a client has purchased a very small, low-risk item, they're familiar with how your brand works. They're familiar with what your brand's about. They know that your company works and you deliver on your promises. And this lowers the barrier to sale for you to offer them your core products and services. By the time customers have reached this point in the funnel, they've seen your ads, they've been on your landing pages, they've bought something of small value, and by that point they're much, much more likely to buy into a core high-value offering. That's just one example of a common sales funnel. There's lots of different ways to do this. But you see that as you go through each stage, the funnel is narrowing. For every 100 customers that you get in, you might only get 10 or 20 of them sign up to email. And by the final stage of the funnel, you'll be lucky to get 1 or 2 that actually pay for the full product or service. That's completely normal. And what's important is that we track each stage of the funnel to find out what's working and where we can improve and where we're losing the most amount of customers so we can focus our efforts in improving that stage of the conversion funnel. Here are a couple of other examples. This one is for business to consumers. In this case, it's for a software as a service package. And this one's for a business to business platform. There's no right or wrong way to go about building a sales funnel, but generally the higher value or the higher cost your products and services are, the more time you're going to have to spend nurturing leads before you can expect them to become full customers. Okay, now let's look at the very top layer and how we can drive traffic to our web properties. So traffic source is somewhere we can get traffic or visitors to our website. We can start by splitting this up into 2 categories, paid versus free traffic. Now, the first thing to note is that free traffic isn't specifically free. It takes a lot of time to build out a good content strategy and do search engine optimization for your sites. So either paying for traffic with money or you're paying for it with time. With online marketing, like many things, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Now, there's pros and cons of both methods. With paid traffic, you can get instant results. You can set up an ad, it'll be approved the same day, and you can instantly start driving high volumes of traffic to your website. You get instant data, you get feedback, and you get an initial influx of customers. With search engine optimization, it's much more of a marathon rather than a sprint. It takes months, sometimes years, to build up enough domain authority and backlinks and respect in the community to get significant results and drive large volumes of traffic to your web properties. And in some niches, it might just not be possible. The car insurance niche we looked at earlier, for example, I wouldn't even attempt to try and rank something in them search listings because I'm going up against companies that have been doing this for 10, 20 years. And for me to try and rank a new web property, I'm even going to have to do something black hat, which means that it's not under Google's terms and conditions. That generally doesn't last long and backfires on the online marketer. Or I'm going to have to put a whole lot of effort into building amazing content over a long period of time and gaining an initial seed audience to try and build some traction in the space. For a lot of people though, particularly like local businesses or niches where there's not as much competition, it's perfectly possible to have a medium to long-term plan to drive traffic to your website. And once that traffic is set up, it can be a really valuable resource for the business. If you're going to go down the free traffic path, I'd suggest focusing on a content strategy rather than SEO specifically. Figure out how to build amazing content that your audience wants to engage with. There are some factors like these tips listed here which can help improve the technical aspects of your search engine rankings. But generally, producing incredible content, then syndicating it out across social networks and different mediums such as blog posts and videos and podcasts is going to give you the best shot of gaining some traction. Like I said, don't expect fast results. You should be looking at least a 6 to 12 month time frame before you get any significant amount of traffic. One other thing to note is that Google provides this Google Search Console, and this is great for people that do an SEO to get feedback on things like how many backlinks you got coming to your site, the performance by impressions, and the number of clicks you're getting for different queries. It gives you some really useful data to work with. And because Google isn't very transparent about what works and what doesn't, it can be quite difficult to run performance marketing campaigns focused on SEO traffic. Now on to paid traffic, and for most people I think this is probably where you want to focus your efforts to start with. Even if you have a content strategy in place and you're looking at long-term SEO traffic, having a little bit of paid traffic that you're generating to your site can speed things up. You're effectively paying for that initial seed audience and hopefully getting some customers in the process. The two big platforms in this area are Google Ads and Facebook Ads, and these are quite different. Google search ads to start with are the ads we've seen for the insurance quote, where if someone types something, they often have purchase intent and they're looking for your products and services. Now, if you've got a new product or people aren't searching for a problem that your product solves, then your only real option is to do disruptive advertising. And Facebook ads is the big platform here. People will be scrolling through their newsfeed and they'll see an ad pop up for something that the advertiser is trying to drive them from the social media site to their landing page to complete an offer. Let's start with Google Ads. Google Ads isn't just search. If we click here, you can see we've got the search ads, which runs on the Google search engine. We've got display ads. Google owns AdSense and AdMob, and they've got this huge publisher base of websites and mobile apps where they can display your banner advertisements. We've got shopping ads and video ads. Google also owns YouTube, so you can advertise on YouTube via video advertising. They've got smart ads and discovery ads, which combine some of these publisher sources to run traffic around the web. Now, when setting up campaigns, one of the most important things is to not trust the default settings. You can see here we were trying to do a search campaign on Google, but Google's automatically ticked that we want this to include Google Search Partners and Google Display Network. That means where we think we're going to be bidding on search ads on the Google website, our ads are actually going to be put into banners and are displayed as banners on the Google Display Network. We don't want that as default. The performance is normally really bad, and it's just a way for Google, and Facebook's just as bad, and all the ad exchanges are trying to optimize to improve the revenues per customer. Their goal is to generate the most amount of advertising revenue, whereas your goal is to spend as little amount of money as possible on getting the best performance for your campaigns. So never trust the default settings. Always go into every little option and decide if you actually want what they've suggested. Here we can set up geographic targeting. Daily budgets are really important. Always start small and expand later. Then we've got the bidding, and this is conversion-based bidding. If you have conversions set up, you can also bid on a cost per click basis. This is where the term pay-per-click advertising came from. And that's an analogy for Google search ads and to a lesser extent Bing search ads. Let's go into Facebook Ad Manager now and see how this compares. So here we have a basic campaign, and what I really want to do is get into the ad targeting here, which is where Facebook really excels. Here we can see we can create a new audience, and we've got location settings. We can target down to the village or little town, and we can target a specific age of person, gender, and then what's really powerful is this detailed targeting. Here we can add different targeting options for interests and behaviors. We can further narrow this by combining these, and we can really laser target our campaigns to the niche or the demographic that we're trying to target. Facebook's been criticized this in the past. They have so much user data, and they've made a lot of it available to advertisers to segment the visitors on their social networks of Facebook and Instagram and deliver highly relevant ads to a very specific target audience. Now, Google and Facebook aren't the only ad networks. There's literally thousands of them. You have things like push notification networks, pop-under networks, there's programmatic advertising and different demand side platforms where you can access ad inventory across the web. There's far too many to go into here, but if you haven't used an ad exchange before, then I'd suggest starting with a Google or Facebook. They've got ample amounts of traffic and they really are the market leaders in this field. The only exception to this is if you find that your specific target audience is on a website which has ads running from a different network. For example, if you wanted to do a business-to-business offer and you found that a lot of your potential clients are on LinkedIn, then obviously LinkedIn ads is the obvious place to start. Focus on getting your ads in front of your audience in the places where they communicate and spend their time. Now let's talk a little bit about creative design. This is banners and videos. So let's focus on banners first. Now with most modern ad networks, you can use like 300 by 250 pixel banners, or you can dynamically generate banners from images and text that the ad network will put together to come up with a custom creative. If you're struggling to find creatives, have a look on something like Pexels. Here you can find lots of different free to use stock photos and videos. For example, if I was running an advertising campaign for a restaurant, I can go in, I can find videos and photos to use for my creatives. Now there's plenty of free tools that you can use to go in and edit these. So let's copy this image and let's fire up something called Inkscape, which I use for doing banner designs. We can paste the background image in. And then all good banners have two key concepts: a hook or a headline, and a call to action. And there we have it. In 20 seconds, we've got a really simple, slightly hideous banner that we can put into an ad network and use to drive traffic to our campaigns. Now, if you're not sure how you want your creatives to look or what's working, then go on the website in question, have a look at what's running. Facebook, for example, offers this ad library, and we can search by advertiser's name to see what ads they're running. You'll notice that a lot of these are video ads, and that's because videos convert really well on Facebook. Here we've got a slideshow type ad, and you've got the title here. You've got a small amount of text. That's something that's important on Facebook, is that you don't have too much text in the ad. That's because Facebook doesn't like having too much text in ads, and they enforce or they penalize ads that have too much text in the banner creative. And you can see they actually add their own native call to action button. If we scroll down, we can see some more here. And you can use this platform, it's facebook.com/ads/library, to see what different advertisers are doing and what kind of stuff's running on the network. I'm not saying copy what others are doing, but certainly take a look and use it as inspiration for coming up with your own creative ideas. If you want to take it a level further, you're probably going to want to do some basic video editing. Now for this, I recommend a program called DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve has quite a steep learning curve. If you've never done video editing before, it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to and learn how to use it. If you're not technically minded, it might be better to collect the raw video footage and then give this to an editor who you can find on something like Upwork or Fiverr to put the video ad created together from that raw footage. If you've got a little bit of time to learn though, basic video editing isn't that difficult, and if I can do it, I'm sure pretty much everyone that's watching can too. Now let's look at retargeting and lookalike campaigns. Now, retargeting campaigns often provide the best return on ad spend for advertisers. However, they are limited by volume. The reason is the way they work. A user will visit a website and a pixel will load in the background tagging that user. All users that visit a website will be tagged and segmented into a custom audience. There's also other things you can do like upload custom email lists, so we can run advertising campaigns to our existing customers or to people that have previously been on our website. And this is so effective. You might have noticed on the line before where you almost get followed around by ads for websites you've previously been on. The reason it works so well from a return on investment perspective is that you're only targeting people that are actually interested in your site. If they weren't, they wouldn't have been there in the first place. They might not have been ready to buy at that time, but further down the line, maybe a week later, a month later, they might be ready to make that purchase decision. Lookalike audiences are similar. However, what it does is it takes a custom audience such as website visitors or website customers, and it will go out and find similar users. So the ad networks have algorithms in place which will match users which look alike or have similar interests and behaviors to your existing customers. This uses machine learning on the back end, and it's a really effective way to scale up advertising campaigns. The market leaders in this space are obviously Google and Facebook ads. They have the most inventory and the most data on their users. Now let's look at how we optimize digital marketing campaigns. Optimizing campaigns isn't something that you do once and forget about. It's something that most marketers will go in and do almost every day or every few days to constantly improve the performance and return on ad spend for their advertising. Most of the time is spent in the tracking platform itself looking at the data. For each banner ad, for example, we might want to see the click-through rate, which is how many people clicked on it after seeing the ad or the impression. We want to see the conversion rate of the landing page for each banner, because certain banners might convert better on a landing page than others. This can tie into how well the banner is linked to the landing page and if the flow throughout the conversion funnel is effective. And ultimately what we want to see is the revenue. We want to see how much we're spending to run that specific ad and how much return on investment we're getting from that. How much money is that ad making for the business? Now, in some cases, this won't always be possible. For example, a local business such as the hairdressers, you can't fire conversion events because it's an offline business. What you can do is you can have like a book an appointment form, and instead of optimizing based on revenues, you can optimize based on a cost per lead basis. This means that for every ad, you'll have a cost per lead. So you'll be able to find out how many leads this ad generated, how much it cost, and you work out how much every lead that your business is getting is costing you. Okay, so let's look for a minute at how this works in practice. Whenever you're setting up a campaign on an ad network, you always have to give a destination URL. So when a visitor clicks on the ad, they go through to your landing page. So the URL might look something like this. So we've got the domain name, the directory, or the folder as it's known in Windows, and then the file or the web page. Now, we can add additional parameters to this by putting in a question mark and then adding additional parameters such as these. We can provide tracking data to Google Analytics. So the first one here is UTM source. We can put anything in this field. For this example campaign, I'm going to be using Facebook ads. So we've labeled the source as Facebook ads. The medium is social. Then the UTM campaign, I'm tracking 3 different variables: campaign 3, ad set 5, and banner 4. So when you're setting up Facebook ads, you have campaigns, ad sets, and banners, and we're tracking all 3 in the campaign field. This comes together into one long string without any spaces. And there we have a tracking link which we can provide to the ad network and then go into Google Analytics the next day and see which campaigns are getting traffic and how that traffic is converting for our offer. The more you optimize, the better your performance of your campaigns will be. But it's more than that. It's actually the more you optimize, the more insights you'll get into how your offer converts, how the consumer psychology works for your niche, and what buttons you're pressing to turn them visitors into customers. So make sure you've got all your tracking set up correctly, dig into the data on your analytics platform, and constantly improve the performance of your campaigns and gain insight into your potential customers. So what do you do once you've found a winning campaign? You've got an ad that you're spending £5 on and you're making £50 on. This is a great problem to have for online marketers. And the reason is that online marketing scales really easily. With paid traffic, you can scale up very quickly. You can increase the daily budgets of your campaigns. You can broaden the targeting, or this can affect the return on investment but increase the volumes. And you can create variations on the theme of the original campaign to scale horizontally. Once you've found something that works, scale it up as fast as your cash flow will allow you. With free traffic or search engine optimization, it's a little bit more difficult. If you want to scale up advertising efforts, then it can take a little bit of time to get this going. You might want to think about outsourcing some of the process which is time consuming, such as content creation or editing, and figure out how you can scale up your operations so you can do more of what you've been doing. The beauty of online marketing is there's an asymmetric risk and reward. We can start out with very tight budgets and testing lots of different things, and then once we find something that works, we can actually scale this out globally relatively easy. There's so much potential with online marketing to grow your campaigns and your business exponentially. So good luck with your digital advertising. I hope this course has helped. And if you're interested in online business, performance marketing and web development, then subscribe to the channel and check out my blog at jamesbachini.com for more content. Thank you for watching.